Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting on a Fan. So today is Saturday, November 11th, 2017. In the United States, it is the observance of Veterans Day, and the time is approximately 9:27 p.m. I want to shout out to Gothica, and I want to officially begin this video by thanking every one of you who wrote a beautiful, loving, insightful, profound, kind, caring, compassionate comment after I uploaded my No More Being Cryptic video yesterday. I am beyond honored. I am beyond moved. I am beyond I'm just beyond thankful and honored and feeling incredibly appreciated and incredibly like I belong in the world. So again, thank you for all that. I am drinking a cup of tea, believe it or not, and in my on-screen mug, and I am drinking a cup of Yogi Green Tea Blueberry Slim Life Tea. This is one of my personal favorite feel-good teas, meaning that if I want my body, mind, and soul to feel really good, I drink this tea. I added honey and lemon this time. No more limes. I ran out of limes, which is fine. I have lemons, which is fine too. Anyway, so, and I wanted to read what it says. Compassion will make you beautiful. Yes, it does. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about this stuff that's been happening, this idiota that hexed me, and I'm like, really, you hexed me? So I want to talk a little bit about, generally speaking, psychic self-defense and spiritual protection. And I truly believe that everyone has both the right and the responsibility to protect themselves. To protect themselves, their loved ones, their homes, their animal companions, their finances, etc. Now, those of us who are magical practitioners, whether we refer to ourselves as witches or pagans or Wiccans or magical practitioners, we know that we can use magic and witchcraft in addition to various mundane tools and methods to protect ourselves. And I believe we have both the right and the responsibility to do that. And there are a lot of things we can do. There are a lot of things that we can do. And the thing that I want to reference is the Budapest. Now, when I first began uploading videos on a regular basis, I always mentioned that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm okay with that. Not everybody's going to like me, clearly, you know. And it would be nice. I mean, it really would be nice if everybody with whom I had any interaction, everybody that I encountered on a daily basis liked me. But you know what? That's not going to happen. And that's okay, you know. There are some people that they don't like me, and maybe that's not a bad thing. But the thing about the Budapest that really hit home for me, and it was in her book, The Grandmother of Time, and she talked about how when she first began living in the Bay Area of San Francisco, she was looking for a place for her coven to worship in nature. And she found this beautiful area. And one day she happened to be walking in that area and she saw a sign that was well-intentioned, but it still made her furious. And essentially it said, attention, women do not walk here unescorted. There are killers who are attacking women. Now the reality was there was a trailside killer at that time who was attacking women and men. But the gist of the leaflet was, well, if you're a woman, you're not supposed to be walking around unescorted because somebody might attack you and might kill you and might rape you and might do all those other nasty things and bad things to you and make you dead, and make you a fallen woman type of thing. So Z Budapest, being the feminist that she is, ripped off the leaflet, turned it around, and wrote on it in big, bright, all capital red letters, "Stalkers, we, the witches, are watching you. Stop what you're doing." That's not an exact quote, by the way. And then she decided, you know what? She decided to contact every witch in the Bay Area, whether they taught classes, gave readings, did rituals, wrote books, etc. And she encountered a lot of resistance. And one of the things was, well, the law of three. It'll come back to us. And what Z Budapest said was, well, if you attack an innocent, yes, but this person is specifically targeting and harming women and men. He's not an innocent. And when I first read this, I went from being asleep to being awake. Or to use the common vernacular, I went from sleep to woke. Because really, I was like, for years, I've been telling clients that one of the simplest and most powerful forms of psychic self-defense is to visualize a brilliant, blinding white light surrounding one's body. And it's a very simple but incredibly powerful psychic self-defense technique. And it works. Because what do the New Age witches do? The New Age witches are like, well, we can't hex them, no. We need to take the pedophiles and the mass murderers and the terrorists and the serial killers and the rapists, and we need to bless them with white light. And bless them with white light, and then they'll stop their shit. No, they won't. Because by enfolding them in brilliant white light and by blessing them with white light, you are giving them carte blanche, literally, to have them keep on doing what they're doing. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and ladies and gentlemen off YouTube in the world, no terrorist, no pedophile, no rapist, no serial killer who has been enveloped in white light has stopped what they've been doing. They've continued doing it. Which means it doesn't work. It's not like they have an epiphany and say, oh, I've been causing harm. I'm doing so many bad things. Well, I have to stop. They don't do that. Granted, I almost never watch the news, so maybe somebody actually did do that, and I just don't know about it because I don't watch the news. But if any of you who watch the news, if you want to tell me about somebody who was blessed with white light and enshrouded with white light, and they stopped harming other people and killing people, and, let me know. But I'm going to ask you to cite the reference and give me an actual link to the story so that I can, include it in a subsequent video. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So several years ago, actually more than 10 years ago, I used to give readings at a wellness center in Manhattan, in the borough of Manhattan in New York City. And I was one of two readers. And the other reader was this lovely lady. She was like somebody's grandmother. Actually, she was a grandmother. She was born in Russia. She lived in the United States for, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it was. And in between readings, she and I would always have these great chats about tea, about food, about places where we've given readings, about the sacred tarot, about Western astrology, about crystals. And I loved chatting with her. I just loved her energy. She always had a smile for me. She was always engaging. She was always so nice and kind. And I felt very comfortable with her. Well, not too long after I started giving readings at this wellness center, I noticed that the number of readings that I conducted, both walk-ins and scheduled appointments, decreased considerably. To the point that there were days that would literally go by that I would not give any readings. And I noticed other things in both my professional and my personal life that just were not working. And it quickly became apparent to me that maybe somebody was sending me negative energy, or rather using baneful magic against me. I'm going to use the correct term, baneful magic, not black magic. And then I was like, and at the time I had been learning about candle burning rituals. So I took a black candle. I took, I think it was a taper at that time. I've become more comfortable with pillar candles, and I use pillar candles a lot more often than I use tapers. I still use tapers from time to time, but more often than not, when it comes to any rituals or spells, I'm going to use tea light candles and taper candles. Anyway, so what happened was I gathered the appropriate herbs and oils. I spiritually cleansed my home. I spiritually cleansed myself. I cast a circle. And before I did anything else, meaning before I dressed the candle, before I called upon Goddess and God, what I did was I took a nail, like the kind of nail that one uses with a hammer, and I inscribed on the candle in capital letters, "To all those causing me harm." And I did this from the top of the candle, where the wick is, to the bottom, meaning, bitches, you going down. Okay? I did that for a reason. So then I did the dressing of the candle, anointed the herbs, the oils, cast the circle, had a chat with the goddess and said, listen, this is what's going on, and I'm not happy about this, and I'd like you to do something about this. And then I lit the candle, let it burn out, burned out for the rest of the night. Following morning, I gathered the ashes, I gathered the remaining wax drippings, flushed it in the toilet, and went about my day. So I went to the wellness center, and as soon as I arrive, I asked one of the co-owners, where's this other person? Where's the other reader? And she said to me, oh, you didn't know? I said, no, what happened? She's like, she fell down and broke her leg. I was like, what? And in my mind, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. She's such a nice person. She's so sweet. Why, what a bad thing to happen to a really nice person. By the way, now you know one of my secrets, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake. Not always, but sometimes. So about 3 to 4 weeks later, I have a reading with my personal psychic advisor, Roger Pratt. I happened to mention this, and he gave me a look. One would even say a pointed look. So I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not getting it. So I just said to Roger, I said, Roger, I'm not sure why you're looking at me like that. And he said, well, think about it. A lot of things weren't going so well for you with your professional psychic practice and your personal life, etc. You do this candle burning ritual, and you basically send back all the harm that people are sending you. I said, right. And then, that same day, somebody that you thought of as a friend falls and breaks her leg. And then he was like, you don't believe in coincidences now, do you? That's when I went from sleep to woke. Like, oh, wait a minute. I'm the one that's always talking to my clients about coincidences don't exist. I was like, oh. I had an Edith Bunker moment. It was like, oh. 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 Yes. This bitch decided to fuck with the witch. I was like, and I didn't know myself as a witch at that time. I really didn't. But I was like, I was stunned. I was like, really? I was in shock. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. That's just one story. Here's another example. So a few years ago, in the borough of Queens, and specifically in the Jackson Heights district of the borough of Queens of New York City, there was a guy who was targeting gay men, assaulting them, maiming them, attempting to kill them. Some of them did die because he killed them. And the police were baffled. They were like, they had no leads. They didn't know what was happening. Now, as a gay man, I have a personal stake. I have a personal investment in somebody who targets gay men. And given how often I've spent in the borough of Queens, and given how often I've spent time in the Jackson Heights district of the borough of Queens of New York City, and given how many clients and friends I have who live in that particular section of Queens, I had a really vested interest in this situation. Now this time, I was just like, you know what? This has got to stop. And in that second, I took all the bitterness, all the anger, all the resentment, all the unforgiveness, all the that I was feeling in my life, that I was feeling to the marrow of my bones, that I was feeling in both my physical and energetic hearts, and I just poured it out. And it was an ooze and a sludge, and I visualized in my mind the figure of a man. Like something that looks like a man. I know some of you were like thinking about Miss Swan. He looked like a man. But yeah, just in my mind, I'm like visualizing, well, this is what a male form looks like in my mind. And I'm visualizing this male form, and I'm taking all this anger, all this resentment, all this bitterness, all this unforgiveness, all this and it's like a sludge, and it's like an ooze, and I'm just pouring it on him, and I'm saying to him in my mind, I'm communicating with him telepathically, and I'm saying to him, you are being stopped in your tracks. You are no longer going to harm my gay brothers. You are no longer going to kill my gay brothers. You are no longer going to be supported. You are no longer going to hide in the shadows. You are going to be caught. You are going to be exposed. You are going to be arrested, and you are going to be convicted. And I made that crystal clear in my mind. That same day, that SOB was arrested. He'd been on a rampage for more than a month, and he was arrested that same day. Is that a coincidence? Not for a second. Not for a second. And I knew. And I was like, you know, and the interesting thing, all these years later, and I think it was earlier this year, I have a client. She's been using my psychic services since September 2001. And those of us that live or work, or live and or work, or know people who live and or work in the New York City area, September 2001 is a very distinct time of the year for us. That's a very distinct historic memory, because it was on Tuesday, September 11th, 2001, that the World Trade Center was attacked. And earlier this year, this client shared with me that in her family, the women in her family have this magical legacy. And I came to realize this year, and not too long after she shared this with me, that I have a magical legacy. That when it comes to hexing people and cursing people and sending back the negative energy and the baneful magic that people send me and mine, it goes back. And I'm damn good at it. And I don't say that as a threat. I don't say that to say, well, I'm the big cheese or any other nonsense like that. But knowing this about myself, and knowing that some idiota, un pendejo de mierda, actually used baneful magic against me, that motherfucker's in deep shit. Really. And I'm just like, and you know, I don't assume anything. I do not assume anything. And I really did some very deep soul searching, and I spoke to the person whose intuition I hold in high esteem. But I asked myself these questions first, and then I asked him, and the answers were the same. In my mind, in my soul, I asked myself, did I cause someone harm intentionally? And I got a no. I got a no from the divine, I got a no from my friend. And then I asked, did I cause somebody harm indirectly or unintentionally? And once again, I got a no. And then I asked, did I do something wrong or bad? And yet again, I got a no. And then I asked one last question. Did I deserve this? On some level, karmic or otherwise? And once again, I got a no. Which means that what this person did was use baneful magic against an innocent. And I was just like, wow. Deep doo-doo. Deep, deep, deep doo-doo. I have no hate towards this person. I don't. I only have pity. I have so much pity for this person. It's sometimes staggering. Like I'm sitting down, I'm comfortable, I'm in a nice chair, my back is well supported. But the reality is that if I was standing thinking about this, I would have to sit down. That's how much pity I feel for this person. Like, this person is so stupid. This person is so misguided. This person is probably being manipulated emotionally by somebody else. I feel that really strongly, because every time I tune into this person that hexed me, I think about people that stopped being a part of my life, that stopped being my friends, that stopped being romantically involved with me because they allowed somebody else to emotionally manipulate them. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that's just a random, capricious, or arbitrary thing. If it's coming up because the universe, or as I call her, goddess, wants me to know something. So now it's like, okay. And I know what I need to do. I know that I need to ongoingly spiritually cleanse myself and my home. I need to make sure that I'm spiritually and psychically protecting myself. I know that I need to resume certain practices that I haven't done in a while. And I also know that I need to do a better job of protecting myself. Energetically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically. But I am crystal clear this person has a strong vested interest in seeing me fall and seeing me fail. Too damn bad. Because that's not going to happen. And given everything that's been happening in my life, especially in the last 2 to 4 weeks, things have rapidly and massively improved in my life. My physical health is better. My emotional health is stronger and more beautiful. My mental health is strong. My finances are improving. My professional psychic practice is doing well. My side position of employment's professional performance has begun improving. So the blessings and the miracles and the gifts are increasing and they're expanding. So what this person tried to do has failed. What this person tried to maintain wasn't maintained. And for a little while longer, I need to be extra vigilant. I really feel that I don't need to be vigilant for the rest of my life or for as long as I draw breath. But I do know that for at least a few more weeks, maybe a few more months, let's say for the next 2 to 4 months, I need to be extra vigilant. I need to be extra mindful. And it's like, okay. But when I think about this person, there's no hate. There's no anger. There's just pity. I feel so sorry for this person. I feel so sorry that this person is so stupid. That this person is so... I don't want to say... hold on. Durga is like doing something. Durga, what are you doing? Oh dear. I think Durga needs some eardrops again. That might involve the burrito. Oh, she's not going to like the burrito. If those of you that follow me on Instagram, you saw the burrito photograph, and yeah, she was not thrilled at all. but she might need some eardrops again. This, but I'll take care of that in a moment. But yeah, I'm just like, I truly believe to the marrow of my bones this person has allowed himself to be massively emotionally manipulated and is being misled and misguided by somebody who does not have his best intentions at heart at all. And when everything is revealed to this person, they're going to be like, oh my God. So, and again, one thing that I am crystal clear about, I don't ever need to know who this person is. I don't ever need to know who the people behind this are. All I need to know is my magic. All I need to know is that I'm doing my magic correctly. And I'm going to tell you all a little secret. Although I think I've shared this secret before, so it might not be that much of a secret. It is not the mindset of the person being hexed or cursed that is most important. It is the mindset of the person doing the hexing and the cursing that is most important. And what this stupid, misguided, pitiful person does not realize is that I am one of the most strong-minded people to ever walk the planet Earth. And that person does not know that yet. They're learning. They are finding out just how strong-minded I am and just how laser-focused I can be. And when everything is said and done, that person is going to feel like a massive, massive, stupid person. But again, I have no hate for that person. I have no desire to cultivate hate towards that person. I have no desire to cultivate anger towards that person. When I think about this person, all I think about is pity. All I feel for this person is just massive amount of pity. And I'm not saying this to get a rise out of anybody. I'm not. I'm simply being brutally honest and completely, uneditedly, unfetteredly honest, and saying that yes, I think about this person who hexed me, who attempted to hex me, who for a time successfully hexed me, and all I can think is, I really feel sorry for you. You're an idiot. You're a fool. You're a moron. You allowed somebody to con you. You allowed somebody to mislead you. You allowed somebody who does not care a whit about you to emotionally manipulate you. And when everything is said and done, and when I'm done with everything I need to say and do, you're going to feel like a massive idiot. You're going to feel massively betrayed, and the only person that you can hold responsible will be you. And you know what? That's a sad thing. It's a really, really sad thing. Anyway, thank you, YouTube, for honoring who I am and what I do. I once again wish to thank every one of you who, oh Lord. A friend of mine calls this the zoomies. You know how sometimes cats get that burst of life force energy and they feel like there's a rocket pack strapped to their back? And of course it would be the one cat I have named after a warrior goddess. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, so to every one of you who wrote a loving, insightful, beautiful, kind, compassionate, caring comment on my No More Being Cryptic video, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. Your kindness, your compassion, your love, and your caring moved me very deeply and honored me beyond words. And I am extremely thankful to all of you for having taken the time out of your lives to do that. I know that there's more that I'm going to discuss about this topic. There's more that I'm going to write about in accompanying blog posts. But for now, I want to thank all of you for everything you do, for honoring everything that I am and everything that I do. I want to thank you for your kindness and your compassion. I want to thank you for giving me the space to share something very intimate with all of you. And as I've stated previously, both online and off, I'm a very open person, but I'm also a very private person. And there are some things that I do not feel are appropriate to discuss openly, and there are some things that I feel that I'd rather not discuss for various reasons, but I felt that this needed to be discussed, and it needed to be shared at this time. So again, thank you for honoring who I am and what I do. Thank you for your kindness and your compassion. I wish all of you a beautiful, loving, prosperous, empowering weekend.